Hurricane Florence closing in over the Carolinas now. The storm weakened to a Category 1 and making landfall. Our live team coverage is on the way.
And the storm's outer bands are unleashing its wrath on the coast right now. You got high winds and rain toppling this gas station. Just look at the top of that gas station. It's completely blown away, and now residents are dealing with some catastrophic flooding. We'll show you some of the hardest hit areas coming up.
On your side, this is NBC 12 News Today.
All right, 6 o'clock. This hurricane is over the Carolinas, and we are seeing some devastating impacts already.
Yeah, and for that reason, we have a live shot right now. This is Wilmington, North Carolina. As you can see, the wind is certainly blowing, and we have someone on the ground right now in Wilmington, but we also have team coverage for you covering everything along the coast, also in Virginia Beach. But Andrew's going to get us started here as we take a look at what's happening as we speak at 6.
Yeah. Wilmington's a little bit inland, so you weren't looking at the ocean. Those aren't boats that are floating around in the ocean. They're on a harbor. I think it's the Cape Fear River. Don't hold me to that, but basically they're inland about 20, 30 miles. All right, so Category 1 now, sustained winds at 90 miles an hour. We had concern a few days ago that this thing was going to come ashore and remove communities from the map as a Category 4. The wind is less. I mean, we were thinking 140 mile an hour wind just a few days ago, and look at how slowly it's moving to the west at 6 miles an hour. You have an unfolding rain disaster, flood disaster happening before your eyes here on the map as super heavy rain is hitting Wilmington right now, or about to, as Wilmington, North Carolina is basically going to be the center of the biggest rainfall forecast that we've seen since Harvey, and that Harvey forecast for Houston was enormous. So this is very clearly the eye wall now on land. And folks, I bet you we're going to see on social media later today people who sneak out in between Surf City and I think Morehead City, actually Surf City and Point South, and they hop out and see the sun basically rising through the eye wall. Wrightsville Beach, 75 mile an hour breeze, wind, hurricane force wind, and an 81 mile an hour hurricane force wind being recorded at Carolina Beach. Then you head farther down to the south, you go to Bald Head Island and over toward Wilmington. So it's basically happening as we speak. Now, what about the impacts for us? Now, I drew a line on here. We're 230 miles from the center of that hurricane. Tropical storm force winds at the peak extended out about 150 miles on either side. You got about an 80-mile buffer, and that basically takes you to northern North Carolina. The tropical storm force winds are most likely going to be in North Carolina. It's going to be tough to get them up here. We want to continue to drive the point home that all of our coastal and tidal communities, 1 to 2 feet of water above ground level, being driven up here by the strong easterly winds pushing all this water up into the bay. You're under a coastal flood warning today and tomorrow. Again, 1 to 2 feet of water on ground level. And we think that the water levels will stay high today, through early next week, as it's going to be a long time before the wind shifts and allows that rain to get out of here. All right, we're going to check the radar in a bit. There's some rain out there now, but nothing crazy. You can expect a shower or a downpour at any point today. With the best chance this afternoon with 1 to 2 inches of rain expected. The rain chance really climbs from midday through about 7 o'clock. And that could really, just a quick pouring rain. Rain totals for us maybe an inch or 2 today. And the wind forecast is an 18, 19 mile an hour sustained winds with maybe a gust to 30 or 35 miles an hour. Well below wind advisory criteria and well below the level you need to have any widespread damage in the Richmond metro area. Anthony, let's head back over to you.
All right, Andrew, thanks. And we're getting a look at the strength of this storm here this morning at the top of the 6 o'clock hour. Take a look at this video out of Topsail Beach in North Carolina. The powerful winds and rain of Hurricane Florence caused this BP gas station canopy to collapse. There it is, completely toppled over. And as Florence roars ashore this morning, the city of New Bern, North Carolina is dealing with some major flooding. Overnight, the city of New Bern tweeted that 150 people are stranded and need to be rescued. But also, emergency officials have already rescued 200 people overnight. You can also see the damage there for yourself. Just look at your screen. The entire area is under a hurricane warning, and many of the low-lying areas are already completely underwater. And we want to check in with one of our reporters from our sister station who is down in North Carolina in the thick of it.
Yeah, that water in so many places. It's not supposed to be right now. John Smith is in Topsail Beach and has a look at conditions there right now.
Hey guys, just made it up the road just a bit from Topsail High School, just a little bit north at the Lowe's Food here in Hampstead at the shopping center here. Have taken cover underneath their gas station, but just in the few minutes that it's taken me to get up here, conditions have gotten worse. The bands of heavy rain and heavy wind coming through much more frequently. That wind much stronger, whipping around in circles and just bringing the rain everywhere all around up here in Pender County. And as Eric said, some of the worst conditions or some of the stronger winds starting to hit this area up here in Pender County, and that should move farther south. For right now, in Pender County, in Hampstead, John Smith, WECT, back to you.
Thank you, John. Man, you really see that rain driving through those lights or that stop sign moving in the wind. They are in the thick of it. We're going to keep checking back in, seeing how everyone's doing there. Thank goodness. I mean, we really dodged a bullet. It was to their detriment, but Virginia not experiencing anything close to what North Carolina's feeling. Parts of Virginia's coast, though, we still want to be vigilant here because they could see some possible flooding.
And that's one of the reasons why we have our Eric Perry, who's live on the ground in Virginia Beach, taking a look at those current conditions. Eric.
Yes, so far, good news. We haven't seen any flooding. In fact, we haven't really seen any heavy rains this morning, just some gusty winds. As far as power here in the area, a lot of the hotels here are still with power. We haven't really heard of any significant power outages here in Virginia Beach. But I do want to point out, not far from here, Norfolk, Virginia, about 20-25 minutes, Dominion Energy tweeting out that about 1,200 customers did lose power in what's called the Oakwood area just after 4 a.m. They said their crews are already there working on it, and that is because of the wind damage here. That is about 25 minutes again in the Norfolk area away from here at Virginia Beach. But here this morning, we have seen a couple of people coming out. In fact, just about 5 minutes ago, a group of about 4 or 5 people went out there on that beach here this morning. The wind doesn't bother them, but as far as the rain and the power, we still see a lot of power here and no rain as of yet. On your side in Virginia Beach, I'm Eric Perry, NBC 12 News.
And of course, we'll be watching for that flooding in the coming days. Thank you so much, Eric, out there on Virginia Beach. Hurricane Florence, while weakening, is still delivering that big punch on the Carolina coast.
And Jay Gray is joining us live now this morning in Carolina Beach to continue our team coverage here. But Jay, as we talk about what's happening down there in North Carolina, we already have word that 200,000 people or so are without power, not to mention the concern of flooding. Talk about the situation there as far as help for those in the hardest hit areas.
Hey, Anthony, Sarah, I can update you on the power outage. It's close to 300,000 now, and that number is just going to continue to climb. This storm has been relentless here, and we're about 10 to 15 miles right now from the eye of this storm, and it continues to close in. I want to give you a look at conditions right now. You can see sheets of water being pushed by winds that continue to gust. It's been fierce winds for the last several hours here. The tide is growing here. We're not close to high tide at this point, but we've already seen in some areas a storm surge of 10 feet or more. Include that with the rain that's just continued to fall, and understand that this storm is moving very slowly. It's going to linger, and we're going to see that rain continue. Some areas already dealing with what has been severe flooding, and that's only going to get worse. So we're really, unfortunately, Anthony and Sarah, just in the beginning stages of what's going to be a very difficult go for a lot of people in this area.
Okay, Jay, thank you so much for standing out there in the driving rain for us. We can see you're really getting hit there. The palm trees behind you moving pretty tough there. We'll keep checking back this morning. Stay safe, and we hope that everyone in North Carolina is watching out for that flood water.
And you know, it really speaks to what's happening there and how fluid this is, because we're now at 300,000 power outages. So this number will continue to climb. So we're going to stay connected with him and give you guys some more updates as well.
It's going to take a while to restore all of that. Let's get back here at home. This was mostly precautionary, but a lot of school systems in Virginia closed today because of Florence. That includes Chesterfield, Richmond, Henrico, Hanover, and Petersburg schools. Many school districts also canceling after school and weekend activities, so make sure you're checking your child's calendar. The full list of closings is scrolling at the bottom of your screen. We always put it on the NBC 12 News app too if you need to check back on that. Shelters across our area were open overnight for those in Florence's path. There are 2 in the city of Richmond.
And our Rachel DePompa is at one of those locations. She's at Linwood Holton Elementary School in North Richmond. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning, guys. And hey, I wanted to mention, it got a little breezy out here all of a sudden, and then it was a downpour for like 5 minutes, just like Andrew mentioned, and then it kind of let up. So it came out of nowhere. But back here to Linwood Holton Elementary School, this is one of 2 shelters in the city that they've opened up. At last count, there are about 20 to 30 people inside this shelter. And there's another one at Blackwell Elementary School in the south side. And at last count, 9 evacuees were there last night. The city, we also checked in with Petersburg, and Virginia State University opened its doors to Norfolk State students and staff who are also following mandatory evacuation orders. Now, as far as how long these shelters will be open, we don't know that at this time. We're waiting to get more information on that, if we'll go through the weekend or if it's just tonight and tomorrow. We will try to find that out for you. We are live on the city's north side this morning. Rachel DePompa, NBC 12 News.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much. And certainly, like Rachel just mentioned, she got a quick downpour of rain, and that can possibly impact your morning commute here this morning with the roadways.
Yeah, let's get right over to Candace. I see that rain on your map radar there behind your roads.
Yeah, we've had the radar on traffic map all morning, but it hasn't been this much. It's covering my traffic map here, but for the most part, we're still okay. I'm not seeing a huge backup along at 64 or 95. We are seeing minor merging delays. Can you see that yellow there? Minor merging delays as you're heading out towards 95 northbound. We still have this disabled vehicle working at Lakeside and Hilliard. That should not slow you down too much in that area. But here's a live look at those wet roads. This is at the intersection of Broad and Boulevard. You can see, though, cars still able to get by just fine, traveling through what we would call probably just some puddles. Back to you.
Yeah, you always got to be careful if the roads are wet, but thankfully nothing significantly dangerous just yet. NBC 12 on your side, keeping you informed of every update with Hurricane Florence. So we're going to give you the real information here. Andrew, Megan, and Jim have been working so hard on covering this storm all week, making sure you know your situation. You can get the first alert weather app by going to the NBC 12 weather app in the App Store. Get that in the palm of your hand. And for us here in Virginia, we have certainly been spared the worst when it comes to Hurricane Florence, but Dominion Energy crews are getting ready to head south just in case there are power outages, and as we just heard, we know at least 300,000 at this hour. They are going to need the help. Our live team coverage continues next with a look at some of those crews as they head south during Hurricane Florence. Also here this morning, let's take a live look at Hurricane Florence, the storm bringing a dangerous storm surge to the Carolina coast. We're hearing 10 feet potentially. Andrew's got the latest on the impact we can see here in our area.
Good morning. If you're just waking up, we have been breezy through the overnight, staying breezy through the morning. We have a couple of wind gusts. I picked out the 3 top wind gusts this morning. Right now, currently on our GES WeatherNet sites. Hopewell at City Hall, 23-mile-per-hour gust. Norfolk, right now at the naval stations, close to a 40-mile-per-hour wind gust. And Emporia in Greensville County, coming in at 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So we stay breezy, a sustained wind through the day today. Right now, anywhere between about 5 to 15 miles per hour. I think that'll pick up as we go through the day today. Wind gusts currently looking at a 20-mile-per-hour wind gust in Farmville, low 20s. The farther south you go, gusting, and those wind gusts could also increase as we go into the afternoon today. Now, not just the wind, but also watching the radar closely. Just mainly light scattered showers with the bands of Florence early this morning. Some sprinkles. Again, mainly light, not seeing any heavier downpours as of yet. Andrew will talk more about the hour by hour, but as you are making your way out the door, could be dealing with some wet roads. You've heard Candace talking about it as well. Midlothian up towards Short Pump, even up towards Ashland, seeing a little bit of that light rain, some sprinkles early this morning. Now, again, heavier showers could be setting up as we go into the afternoon today, and the winds also picking up as well as we go through the day today. And Andrew will have more details on that right now.
Yeah, and I don't think we want to kind of drive home the point. Megan and I were talking in the weather office this morning that in the absence of the knowledge that there is a hurricane that's causing a disaster in North Carolina, you know, this would be a forecast today that would be breezy, if not windy, kind of warm, cloudy, and showery. And in terms of the threat level for your day-to-day activities today, you're going to get wet. The wind's going to be blowing a little bit, but we don't think that the power outage map is going to show much of anything up in the Richmond metro area. Just kind of a cloudy, showery, breezy, if not windy day. The wind forecast today is 18, 19 miles an hour. And we talked about this yesterday. We think our peak winds, we said yesterday morning peak winds 30 miles an hour in Richmond. Maybe you can get a wind gust to 35 miles an hour. If it happens, it would happen probably in a decent-sized thunder shower or just shower that drops down on us toward the early part of the afternoon. But this is not going to be a day when we see, you know, things flapping all over the place. And we've had windier days, I think, actually, Most years we have autumn days that are much windier than this. Down in Emporia, could get 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and on Hampton Roads a 50-mile-an-hour wind gust. So down south and down toward the beach, that's where the biggest concern is. Forecast today, cloudy, showery, some downpours, those tropical downpours. 79 for the high temperature. It is a humid day. Obviously, we have tropical levels of humidity. Rain chance today is very high at about 90%. Here's that hour-by-hour forecast for the rain. It's not going to rain steadily. You heard Rachel talking about earlier. She got a downpour, then it left. So this is not going to be those slow-moving thunder showers that we've had in recent days where it rains and it rains and you sort of check the clock, it's still raining half an hour later. These things are going to be zipping along, right? There's a big tropical system down to the south spinning this at us. So west to east, you're going to see downpours coming at you. So use the NBC 12 weather app today, and you can do your best to dodge these showers and thunder showers. It's going to be tough to work outside today because you never quite know when it'll rain on you. A few showers tonight, cloudy, breezy, 72. The rain chance tonight, 50-50. Tomorrow's wind forecast, even less extreme. It's a 12 to 13-mile-an-hour sustained winds and maybe a 25-mile-an-hour gust in the Richmond Metro tomorrow. But tomorrow's got those scattered showers and downpours as well. The rain chance down just a tad, but I think we'll get some rain as well tomorrow. Here's the hour-by-hour for tomorrow. But again, this is not a day that you have to cancel your outdoor activities for tomorrow either, as we're just going to get some scattered showers. It's not going to rain steadily all day. So the rain chance very high today, tomorrow on a first alert weather days. And we talked about this at the top of the hour. The biggest impact for a lot of us out there, if not all of us, is going to be the coastal flooding ongoing on the northern neck all the way down to the beach, where water could be 1 to 2 feet for the next couple of days up on the ground level, above ground level. So that's today and tomorrow. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we don't have a classic tropical system departure, dry air arrival. That's not going to happen. As the remnant low pressure goes into the mountains, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all with a 50% chance or greater shower chance. Could be some rumbles of thunder as well. Low 80s for Sunday through Monday. And we're going to be watching the river levels very closely next week because we think the remnants of this storm could throw a lot of rain in western Virginia. And that, of course, would come our way middle or end of next week. We'll continue to track it even as Florence is onshore. Sarah, over to you.
Okay, thanks so much. We're so grateful to have dodged any significant impact from Florence here where we are, but that has allowed the Dominion Energy crews to kind of mobilize and prepare to respond where it did hit.
Yeah, and as we just found out, Jay Gray mentioned that there are around 300,000 people in North Carolina as we speak without power. And our Kelly Avellino is live for us in Henrico at Dominion. And Kelly, right now the question is just a matter of when some of these crews and these linemen are going to head south to help out.
That's right. We've got 60 linemen from Northern Virginia, all Dominion employees, heading down into North Carolina right now as we speak. They are specifically aiming for the Outer Banks. 140,000 Dominion customers just in that area. Those crews will be working diligently to get the power back on for those people as soon as possible. But of course, it is a momentous job, and those crews are not going to put themselves in life-threatening situations. Sometimes they have to wait it out for a day or two before they can really get in there with generators, transformers, utility poles, live wires, all of those things. It is a very dangerous profession, as we know. Here across the Commonwealth, specifically in Central Virginia, I can tell you that all of their utility trucks are stocked up and ready to go for whatever might or might not happen here. But again, right now the focus has really shifted south, as we've been telling you all morning. And of course, Dominion crews are there to help not only the customers in the Outer Banks once they finish there, they'll be extending throughout the state and possibly even South Carolina to help restore power to those people who need it. Also, hospitals, nursing homes, pharmacies, those places that really serve a vulnerable population will be on top of the list as well. Sarah and Anthony?
All right, we're so grateful they're able to go down and help where it's needed. Thank you so much, Kelly, for that report.
All right, now at 6:20, let's toss things over to Candace for a look at your traffic news.
It's still pretty quiet here in Central Virginia. We're starting with a live look. This is 64 westbound across the Chaco Valley Bridge. No slowdowns, but we are dealing with a little bit of that wet road here. And you can see some brake lights as you're looking to head out towards 95 north or southbound, or continue towards that downtown area. Heading eastbound, good to go, really quiet and light traffic heading out towards the airport this morning. 10 minutes to get you northbound from Bells Road to the Bryant Park interchange, 33 minutes from Ladysmith to Belvedere, and 64 westbound from Bottoms Bridge to the Chaco Valley Bridge. That VDOT camera that we just showed you, 14 minutes. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Candace. Well, where the James and the Appomattox Rivers meet in Prince George, a marina is preparing ahead of Hurricane Florence. Remember, Andrew said we could see a little bit of a rise in the water.
Yeah, and the Jordan Point Yacht Haven isn't taking any chances, especially after it was destroyed by Hurricane Isabel back in 2003. Up next, what they're doing to prepare.
Just a note to the directors, I'm going to try to get up on Weather 2 pulled up, Dress for the Weather. So when you see Dress for the Weather pop up, we'll show it, and then we'll go back over the Weather 1. All right, Florence, Virginia impacts. Heavy shower bands, we'll get them increasing through the day today, and winds are going to be picking up, but we don't think there'll be much damage in the Richmond metro, kind of little to no damage. All right, now we've got the Dress for the Weather forecast. Isabella's got the right idea, and a lot of folks remember the hurricane of record in recent history for us is Hurricane Isabel. Isabella here is dressed for the rain. She is ready to go. We think that's a great choice today. Rain could come down on you at about any point as Call Federal sponsors that segment each and every day. Thank you very much in the booth. We'll head back over to Weather 1 here again. Sum it up, little to no wind damage expected in the Richmond metro. Could be some tropical storm force wind gust, 40+ mile-an-hour wind gusts in far southeastern Virginia and maybe south of Route 58. And of course, that coastal flooding is a big story as we work our way through the weekend. Landfall occurring. I'm zoomed in here on Surf City down to Topsail Beach. There's Wilmington. Wilmington about to get the eye of the storm. Sorry, Wrightsville Beach. And the eye of the storm is now working its way on shore. The rain, which has just started to get really heavy over the past few hours in Wilmington, is going to stay for another day and a half or 2 days. So they have the potential for a flooding disaster with 20 to 30 inches of rain possible near the center of that storm in southern North Carolina. Anthony, let's head over to you.
All right, Andrew, thanks. The owners of the Jordan Point Yacht Haven, which is in Prince George, they're keeping a close eye on Hurricane Florence. The marina sits where the James and Appomattox rivers meet. Now, after Hurricane Isabel destroyed the marina 14 years ago, the owners have changed the way they prepare for major storms.
We had every boat hauled out, but it wiped us out.
Think about marina owners down in southeastern North Carolina and South Carolina.
I feel for them. My heart goes out to all of them. Even though it's your business, it's your life.
The marina hauled boats on Thursday and raised some of the items that are inside of their store just in case the storm surge forces water into their business. They also told us that they will most likely be closed today as Florence makes landfall. And speaking of Florence making landfall, that is happening as we speak here today. And as Andrew just mentioned, they're looking at the potential as the next couple of days move forward. Rain 30 inches or so. So they're preparing for potentially catastrophic flooding.
Yeah, the danger is going to be present for some time. We're going to be watching that. A GoFundMe account has been set up to help the victims of this dangerous storm. So coming up, we have some of the details on how you can help.